gentlemen, this is Harry Brailsford from SMB Nation, and it is our weekly Thursday webinar coming to you from beautiful Bainbridge Island. And it's 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 1 p.m. on the East Coast, and late afternoon, early evening over in parts of Europe. So thank you for joining us. A little bit of housekeeping up front as always, so be sure to use the chat feature to ask your questions, and I'll make sure those questions get asked along the way. Our Office 365 tour, which Skykick is a premium sponsor. So the Office 365 Nation Workshop Tour, the next stop is in 2 weeks from today down in Irvine, California. Now this is an interesting one, guys. Not only do you have to sign up, but you better hurry and sign up because we are literally restricted to 100 attendees by the fire marshal. So this is a little bit different. I think we're going to have the same restriction in New York, but I'll get back to you on that. That's late March. But I do know down in Irvine, California, Southern Cal, we can't go to 120 like Bellevue, et cetera. So you do need to sign up. It is complimentary if you read closely. It's been a very popular tour. Some other things coming up. Keep an eye on the O365 Nation site where we're posting up curated content and unique content every single day. Don't forget about SMB Nation. And then had an interesting conversation recently that people keep forgetting we have Telefonation. So our VoIP brand is coming up on about 8 years old over at telefonation.com. As for me, quick updates. I hit the VMware Partner Show late last week, and I hit the IBM Partner Show this week down in Vegas. Just got home late last night. And let me tell you, the takeaways, and this will fit into the Skykick guy, and I'll introduce him in just a moment, but the takeaways are a consistent theme of business transformation. And so you're not imagining it, and I think it plays right into the migration conversation. With that said, Tim, are you there from Skykick? And sir, where are you? Are you in Seattle today?
Absolutely, yep. We're up here in Seattle, and it's actually looking relatively sunny out today for the first time in a while. So.
There you go. Well, I've done all the talking. Let me hand you the talking stick. Let's get going. It's talk about business transformation. That's kind of what your tool does.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, we're definitely going to get into that for sure. Thanks everybody for joining us this morning, and thanks Harry for the intro there. My name is Tim Dennis. I'm on the account executive team over here at Skykick, and my role with the company is actually to onboard.
Tim, are you there?
Oh yeah, Harry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be perfectly forthright here. My computer just went down, but you know what? Hopefully that won't stop us. Yeah.
I'm going to say who's controlling the presentation, Tim? Just to clarify, is Heather controlling the deck, or are you controlling the deck?
I was controlling the deck. Yeah, I just had control of the screen. I just got the blue screen of death here. Give me 1 second here. Apologies, guys.
Not the blue blue screen of Skykick.
Oh my goodness.
This is Joker somewhere.
This could not have been more perfect timing here.
Oh, that's all right, sir. I'm used to doing little finger puppets in front of the boardroom, right? When there's that awkward moment in your career.
Sure.
With that said, well, I'll tell you what, while you're rebooting, why don't I give people some context of kind of the relationship we have with Skykick. So here's the deal, you guys. There's a handful of migration tools in the marketplace, ranging from enterprise down to what I call the SMB focus. And so what Skykick has done is very assertively gotten into this place. It's founded by some former Microsoft executives who are technical. So I definitely want to emphasize that it's not necessarily fluffy marketing people, but these are technical executives who left Microsoft and have brought over some additional resources. And so they're one of us, and they have a migration tool that is right here, right now, and is right-sized for SMB, both the functionality and the cost. And so here's kind of what I'm seeing out there. Having a lot of conversations on 365, a lot of momentum, And you have a window, and we can talk about that. We can talk about it as a 24-month window, is it a 36-month window, 48-month window, but right now there's a migration window. And, if we've learned anything from all of our careers collectively in the small business server era, you got to jump through that window. When that window's open, you got to jump through it. And then, gang, in 3 to 4 years, we'll figure out what the next new is. I mean, inevitably, there's going to be some other motion surrounding 365. If I knew that, I wouldn't be on this call, because I'd be, sir, I'd be a wealthy individual and retired. So, Tim, I don't know if you want to add on to that while you reboot, but that's kind of how I look at Skykick.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Harry. I'm just getting, the screens are just coming up here now again. But yeah, I'll just give you a quick background, and that definitely is a good lead-in for what we're all about, because we've essentially, like Harry said, there's a lot of sync tools, or, you guys may be familiar with a few of the sync tools on the market currently, but they typically, they're focusing on the data sync portion of the migration process. And we basically realized earlier on that the sync portion is arguably the easier part of a migration. There's a ton of different, challenges that you're going to face, basically, primarily like the concern for email and business interruption, and, are you making money on this project, or, you want to make sure you don't tarnish that relationship with your client. There's a ton of unknown, gotchas, basically, that due to various source configurations with these email migration projects. So we basically developed this new kind of category called migration project automation. And what we're going to do is basically automate not just the sync portion, but the entire email migration project. So all the way from the development of the statement of work to the actual desktop setup portion as well. But yeah, what I'm going to do today, and sincere apologies, everyone. I'm just trying to get rebooted here. We're going to get a couple screens going as soon as possible. But my goal for this morning was basically to just kind of walk you through a couple PowerPoint slides. I won't bore you too much with that. And just generally discuss the partner value, what we're currently all about, and, some of the successes we've had and some of the successes our partners have had as well, in the Office 365 migration space. Like Harry said, there's a huge opportunity out there for Office 365, but, we found a lot of partners earlier on with our own research and feedback and so forth that they're really shying away from the cloud. They didn't. Like I said, it's a risky endeavor. It's expensive. Clients are concerned, and client relationships are on the line a lot of the time. And if you're not familiar with the deployment process, it can be, pretty challenging. So we basically developed our company to help with that. To help with that transition and help, essentially, involve automation, because these days, who wants to do projects manually? It's when it's so much easier to automate all the steps involved. But here, 1 second, I'm just going to grab this link, and I should be back online in a minute or two.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, basically,
no problem.
Cool.
Well, let me tell you a story. Just yesterday, one of our best customers, Eric Shore out of Providence, Rhode Island, he went through our Pocket MBA program and some other initiatives. He reached out. Hadn't talked to Eric in a while. He knows that we're messaging Office 365 as one of our niches. He reached out and wondered, can he be trained on migrations, how to do migrations. He's seeing a lot of Office 365 opportunities. So organically, he reached out, right? I mean, just, hey, hey, Harry, what's going on? And I said, well, perfect timing. We have a webinar tomorrow. And then I also connected him with the Microsoft Princess, Melanie Goss. So you guys will want to look up her radio show, Google Microsoft Princess. And she happens to live in the Providence, Rhode Island area. She's one of the speakers on our 365 tour, and she does consult to industry. So I'm getting those two together. But, not that Eric needs to retain Melanie. I think retaining Melanie will be more about, quote unquote, the business transformation conversation. But the tool itself, I don't think you need a consultant to come in and teach you how to use the tool. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's the thing. It's designed for partners who are new and also designed for partners who have the experience. So, we're designed for scale. So if you're a new partner, or rather new to Office 365, the application is designed to be pretty intuitive and basically guide you through all the steps associated with the migration project. And actually, I can jump to that slide. Harry, I'm not sure if you have control, if you can give me control
Yeah,
here.
Heather in the over in the control room. Heather, can you give control back to our
And
guest?
again, my sincerest apologies. I couldn't be more embarrassed right now.
Yeah.
But we'll hopefully
Tim,
wasn't
it's
too
going
much
to
of a
happen.
disruption.
I'll tell you, try throwing an interception with 20 seconds left in the Super Bowl, buddy boy.
Yeah, don't bring that up. That's still a sore subject over here, and probably will be for the next year.
Telling you, man. Yeah, telling you. Talk about windows of opportunity that open and close.
Yeah.
So we'll probably need Heather to, let's see if I can do it. Again, folks, thanks for bearing with us. Let's see. We'll need to make you presenter, sir. Can you go over to your dashboard and see if you're able to do that?
Here we go. I just got the pop-up and should be back on in a second.
All right, folks. Thanks for hanging with us. You know how the games play. There we go. All right, sir. I'm going to go on mute so you can catch up. Okay. You talk. We'll listen. Okay.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks so much, Harry. It looks like we covered actually a good portion of this slide, so we don't need to, like I said, we don't need to spend too much time in PowerPoint here. But just kind of recap, my goal was to again walk you through these slides, just basically explain a little bit of the history of the company, in addition to like I said, what we're all about and how we're currently helping partners. Like Harry said, there's incredible opportunity for Office 365, but there's also a lot of challenges associated. And what we realized is that there really isn't too much help for the partner community. There's really, you guys are the consultants. Everyone's looking to you for help, but who's actually helping out the partner? And of course, a lot of our partners have become pretty efficient with their migrations, and that's great. But we also have a lot of partners who are brand new. So the value is that we're able to help everyone scale. So partners who are new, you can definitely get into very easily and profitably, and I'll show you in the demo in a little bit. And then, of course, partners who have the experience, hopefully we're going to help enable you to accelerate your business and basically sell more. So that said, we've got a big partner network currently, and I'll just give you a quick, what we're all about. Again, we are a Microsoft partner-facing model exclusively, and I thought I'd just talk about how we kind of differentiate ourselves from the market. So like we spoke about briefly, some of those sync tools on the market, they're currently available for anyone. But what we realize the importance of basically channeling directly to the Microsoft Partner Network. So you're going to find that there's not too much information on the front page of the website, as we are channel-facing exclusively. This product was literally built entirely for you, the Microsoft partner. So if you're a partner, Skykick, and you're looking to go fast with Office 365, then Skykick is definitely for you. What I meant to mention before I got a little sidetracked was that we're actually going to walk through our live real-time demonstration within the browser to show you how easy it is to kind of get started and basically how to scope out a project and get going as quick as possible. This slide is basically to show you probably what you're already involved with or what you can expect if you haven't started yet. We before the company got moving, we were doing these migrations manually, and we're getting a lot of feedback from the partner community about how what their experiences were and what their headaches were. And this slide is basically an example of what every single step associated with a migration project, all the way from that first phone call all the way to the actual Outlook desktop setup. So as you can see, right in the center there's the sync portion. You can barely see it, and it's going to take you some time, of course, and there's definitely some challenges with that. But look at all these other steps that you're going to have to deal with, as far as selling the project, getting the client convinced to move to Office 365, determining where their mail is hosted, where is their DNS, what mailboxes are on their system, how can I recreate these DGs and aliases and so forth. Architecting Office 365 creating users and licensing and so forth, and then the DNS and then managing the project, the whole list here. And then, as you can see, once you're through the process, you've got that last-ditch effort. You think everything went well, and before you know it, your margins could get thrown with the desktop setup. We learned that deploying or not deploying, but rather reconfiguring Outlook for each individual user for large projects, that's incredibly time-consuming and incredibly arduous. You have to, in some cases, literally go desktop to desktop to reconfigure Outlook. So our goal as a company, like I said, with automation, is going to knock this from your average 40-hour project to ideally sub 5-hour project. And this is for your average maybe 25 to 35 seat example. And nothing is really an exact science here. This is this is a lot of feedback we're getting from partners. This could be half the time spent on this migration. It could be double time. It just kind of depends on so many different factors and so many different like I said before, kind of gotchas within that everyone's custom source configuration. So, but yeah, our goal is to basically automate about 90% of the migration project and help you with the bulk of the heavy lifting. And that's going to basically ultimately help you sell more. No resource delays. You don't need you don't need to like basically allocate your most expensive resources to these projects any longer. You can have a team of 1 or 2 guys pushing out migrations and enabling your sales guys to you don't need to throttle those sales anymore. You can kind of keep taking clients in as you need. So. But yeah. So let's actually go ahead.
Sounds like a no-brainer. Well, yeah, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's what can I say?
Yeah.
Everybody should be doing this. Okay, next slide, please. Let's continue.
Absolutely, yeah. And then just a little bit of feedback from some of our partners and from Microsoft, actually. This is kind of the data we've pulled from our partner network. We're about just over 3,000 partners at this time and actively selling Office 365, and we found that partners are actually selling twice as many deals as they were before. And in addition, they're selling deals that are twice as big, double the size. We found that that confidence has been, you gain a lot of confidence through the automation. So partners are now able to tackle those 100-seat projects. A lot of I've taken calls myself. I meant to mention earlier, I've been with the company for the last 3 years, basically almost since inception. And I've seen this product grow, and I've taken the phone calls that say, hey, we don't want to tackle this 100-seat migration. We can't take the risk. It's like we've done plenty of these projects, but this is a huge client, and we can't. It doesn't matter how it goes. Like we can't take the risk of interfering with their email. We can't risk losing data and so forth. But now we've realized, through automation and through handling the bulk of the heavy lifting here, we're able to partners are able to actually scale out and tackle those bigger projects and take on those bigger sales. And with that, your margins are going up. I think a lot of partner feedback also tells us that for any professional services, project, you're looking to gain about 40 points margin. But with the application here, you're able to actually increase that by up to about 25%. So it's a great value, and it's basically designed, like I said, for you, the Microsoft partner, and basically designed to help you win that deal. Win that Google deal, win that Pop or INAP deal. Go after the hosted exchange, whatever source configuration they're going from. You don't need to pick and choose. We're here as essentially this virtualized IT consultant, and we're going to help you scale out. So let's jump to the next slide. So yeah, I'm going to jump into the website in a second, and basically this is what we're going to talk about is this end-to-end migration project automation, and it's basically this 4-product application suite, which includes the web planner. And I'll show you that too. Once you get registered, you'll see how to kick off orders, how to get started, excuse me, and how to actually scope out a project and develop a statement of work with your client. The server sync portion is fully automated. So once the wheels are in motion and all the users have, we've determined that sync connection and the data is moving, that's fully automated. There are multiple passes are implemented automatically. You don't need to worry about monitoring the sync process. That basically once everything's moving, that's fully automated. The initial sync, the mid-level pass, the final sync, and the delta sync. You don't need to worry about paying more for more data or saying, oh man, it's Friday night, they're cutting over tomorrow, I got to do another sync pass. It's going to fully accommodate and reconcile with their source environment and make sure everything is copied appropriately to Office 365. The DNS sync and the Outlook Assistant. The DNS, this is kind of one feature for the most part. The DNS, we'll talk about that. We have the ability to fully automate the DNS changes, save you some time there. There's always challenges with the DNS, so our platform is able to automate that switch. And then the Outlook Assistant. This is a huge feature. Like I mentioned before, that last setup portion for a migration project is making sure Outlook is configured, and that is arguably the biggest pain for some of these migration projects. So we have a solution that's going to actually automate the desktop setup. It's going to basically serve 4 different functions, which is basically, it's going to run a diagnostic. It's going to make sure that that desktop is prepared to connect with Office 365. It's going to create the profile automatically, make sure that user connects with Office 365. And it's also going to transfer some of those pain, those tricky smaller files within and settings within Outlook, like the auto address complete and the signature blocks and so forth. So it's definitely going to be a huge time saver. In addition to the actual, it's able to handle POP and IMAP migrations as well. It'll actually transfer the local PST. So that said, let's just jump right into the website. And forgive me, I did have all these screens pre-cooked before, but hopefully it won't give me any trouble right now. If you haven't gotten registered with us, definitely go ahead and do so. It's free of charge. We don't ask for credit card information, no requirements or quotas or anything like that. We basically just ask for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me make mention on the registration.
Sure.
So a couple of things, folks. I mean, first of all, just do it. I mean, get your head in the game. Just do it. It's no obligation. It gets you in the loop. Okay, so that's number one. It's like we were saying, a no-brainer. Number two, Skykick is a supporter of our community of SMB Nation. They're a supporter on the tour. They're a supporter of the work we're trying to do. So need you to pick how you heard about us. One of the questions, the drop-downs, need you to pick SMB Nation. So, quite frankly, I can tell how good a job I'm doing in the community, how good a job I'm doing for you guys. So pick that you heard about us from SMB Nation. And then number 3, this is so important. Not only will you get a follow-up email, as usual, tomorrow, thanking you for attending the webinar, but I'm going to ask Brooke to reach out to you guys who are on the webinar, give you a quick toot, and help you sign up for Skykick or answer any questions. So, Tim, please continue. But I just wanted to kind of catch that point that, this is a chance for people to raise their hand and support those that support us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks so much for that, Harry. Yeah, for sure. This is basically, like I said before, designed for you, the Microsoft partner. This product is built with all of your needs in mind. So it's, and like Harry said, it's free to register. And what that does is mainly gets you behind the firewall here. Like I said, because we're partner-facing exclusively, we don't divulge this information publicly. So you're not going to find too much information on the front page of the website. All the good stuff is going to be once you're in the portal here. And I'm basically going to show you how to kick off a new project, generate that statement of work, in addition to actually manage your existing projects. I'll come back to this page in a little bit here, but what I'm going to do is basically talk about the SMB Project Planner. And you're probably wondering about enterprise and data only. These are basically our 3 current product SKUs that are offered, that are designed to help you win whatever deal comes your way. I'm going to go through the SMB Project Planner mainly because this is what we identified with when we first started, and still do, which is basically the SMB market. 250 seats or less. How can I get a good scope on this customer's environment? And how can, excuse me here, how can we, how can we basically get the eyes on the user's current environment and figure out exactly what we need to do with this project. So the SMB planner is going to be slightly different from the enterprise planner, but the functionality is essentially the same. The end result is going to be the same. The cost is going to be the same. The enterprise project planner is primarily designed for staged migrations, and it gets a little bit more granular when it comes to multiple server environments, and when you're dealing with 500 plus seats and so forth. And then data only I'll touch upon briefly towards the end there. That's another solution we came out with. But what we're going to do is we're going to kick off a new project here, and this is designed, again, with you in mind. Basically, this end-to-end solution starting with that very first step. What do we do when we get that phone call from the client? When they say, hey, we're ready to move to Office 365, what do you guys need to do? Well, the very first step is to, number one, put in just any email address on the domain you're looking to migrate, and it's going to kind of just bring you into the portal here. And very quickly, it does this kind of very quick public DNS lookup, and it's going to tell you actually the two most valuable pieces of initial information that you need from your client. And this, surprisingly, could take you a lot more time than you might imagine. For example, we determine, okay, the email is located on-prem, and the DNS is located at GoDaddy. So right away, we know where to attack the first two control panels when we're trying to establish that sync and when we're trying to change the DNS. So again, simple public DNS lookup, but mainly here, this whole planner is here designed to give you the confidence that you're 10 steps, 100 steps in front of the client, and telling them that you're the one for the job here, and that you know exactly what's happening. So we figured out where the email is coming from, and where the DNS is. What's the next step? What's the next question you need to ask this client? Okay, it's like, okay, so we need to figure out who's who in this organization. Who still works for the company, what mailboxes need to be migrated, and how are we going to develop this migration plan. And with one username and one password, it's going to do just that. It's actually going to pull all this valuable information, and it's going to establish the connection protocol, which should pop up here in a second, and then it's going to pull all the users associated with this domain. And then once we do that, we'll actually be able to develop this customized migration plan. But this is going to be a huge time saver for you when it comes to the actual, moving back and forth with Excel spreadsheets and so forth. But okay, good green check marks all around. Sometimes it takes a minute to connect, depending on the size of the organization, and just making sure our system gets everything right. As you can see, we've established the source sync email protocol here. So our system knows exactly where to go once it's time to establish that sync connection. So that's probably 50% of the game here, including discovering those mailboxes, but also making sure that our system knows where to connect when it comes time to sync the data. While it's doing a dig in the background, it's going to prompt you for the status of the client's Office 365 account and whether it exists or not yet. And our software has the ability to create an Office 365 account from scratch. And if you're just getting this rolling and the client hasn't purchased licenses yet, then our system has the ability to set that up for you, in addition to assigning you that partner of record. So you're always going to get that recognition from Microsoft for the sale of Office 365.
Yeah, let me stop you there. That's
sure.
That's a key point. For a lot of reasons, it's not just the commission payout, for lack of a better phrase, but it's a big deal. People really, partner of record bestows a lot of benefits, and this is where I've seen some pretty heated conversations in our workshops, and I'm going to get the whole framework wrong, but apparently, there can be issues. I'll just leave it at that for today because we're not doing a licensing lecture. That's Melanie Goss at our workshop. But there can be issues apparently if you go through an intermediary and making sure you are the partner of record as part of that process. So, again, not to get into the weeds, but I just wanted to do a shout out that you're keying in on a big issue to get that title, that recognition. That's critical.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, like I said, our goal is to help the partner be successful. So we're always going to make sure that POR is assigned. In addition, I always like to kind of drive this home. We're not reselling Office 365 licenses. We're not a reseller by any means. This is strictly just going to be essentially logging into the Microsoft website and purchasing those licenses directly, off the internet. And we'll show you how to with the billing at the end there. But I just want to drive that home. That Skykick, we're not reselling anything. This is basically just provisioning all this in an automated fashion. But you may find yourself in another situation, and this happens a lot, when the client may have already tried to migrate themselves, and may have already created a trial account, and that account already exists, or you already have like a product key or something. You purchased licenses via Open, and you already have this kind of empty shell Office 365 account. No problem. You basically just punch in the global admin username and password for that Office 365 account, and then our system will take care of the rest. It'll populate whatever you indicate on the next page here. So it's basically designed to accommodate whatever situation currently exists. But with any luck, when you go through with username and password, this is what's going to happen. And this is going to be, like I said before, a huge time saver. What we did was we actually pulled and discovered all of these users that are associated with this domain. And here, this is where you can kind of scope out the project. You can basically determine who's who in the organization. A lot of partners like to do a screen share, with the client to basically go through and kind of figure out what needs to happen with all of this information here. So as you can see, we pulled individual mailboxes. We pulled one public folder. We have the ability to migrate public folders, and then shared mailboxes that can be provisioned as well. And then as this is a newer version of Exchange, as an example here, we actually pulled the DGs in addition to the DG membership. And of course, you can add and subtract. I'll show you in a second. And then additional domains, and then we'll talk about the migration date. But I want to quick kind of touch upon a few of the features that are here to set up, help you set up this customized migration plan. Because like I said, our goal is to basically accommodate as many different requests and kind of custom situations that you can throw at us. And I think we've got most of them, maybe not all of them, but again, all these features are added based on your feedback. So if there's something that's missing, always let us know. But basically, this is going to help you generate that customized migration plan. And if it's everyone's getting E1 licenses and they're already pre-purchased, you could be out the door in about 10 minutes here. But of course, with larger projects, you might want to kind of consider budget and who needs to migrate and so forth. So you can basically go through here and assign different licensing based on the user's needs and so forth. And then we've got this other feature here, which will actually show you all the available Microsoft licenses. And then our system can provision whatever you need. And then we've got a little bit of a cheat sheet here. When partners are doing a screen share and the client isn't familiar with the Office 365 licenses, like I said, some users might need the full Office Professional Plus package, whereas some users are only working once or twice a week, and they need just the mailbox, that kiosk package. So we got licensing there. In addition, we've got our advanced settings, fancy mode cogwheel here, and this is actually going to help you get even more granular when it comes to configuring these users. And when it comes to PowerShell, if you guys have done these before, this is an incredible time saver. So, and here I'll just show you a couple of examples real quick. Let's say Alexandra here no longer works for the company. This is someone who, number one, we don't need to license this user, nor do we need to migrate the data. We tell our system to do just that. We're going to update that information. Her license gets grayed out, and our system knows not to touch this user on the source when the time comes to establish that sync. And then, we even have this kind of cross-migration scenario as well. So in the event, this user here, Alice Bolden, again, doesn't work for the company, but maybe she has some very valuable sales information or legal information in her inbox that needs to be preserved before that source environment is brought down. So we can actually, let's migrate that into Alberto's inbox here. And it's basically geared to accommodate for those kind of custom cross-migration situations. In addition to multiple domains, we've had a lot of requests for, for a company migrating from one domain into the next. If they're branching off from their current environment into a brand new email address entirely, you can have that configured in our system as well. So we can do this in bulk. If you've got 100 users here, you don't want to do this one at a time. You can have it set up to, number one, standardize their email address. We can actually configure their first and last name in a kind of cleaned up fashion if the company's growing. And then if, let's go ahead and quick add a domain here. We can actually set up this A to B scenario as well. And once that domain is added, we can actually have these users migrate from A to B and B to A and so forth. Again, it's kind of geared to accommodate for any sort of custom configuration you can think of, in addition to here more or less is kind of this consulting, you can attack this from more of a consultative approach as well. What I'm going to do here, public folders, we discovered one, and our system knows that, okay, we can't continue until we have at least one licensed user assigned to this public folder. So I'm going to get rid of that red alert by adding Alberto as a member. That alert goes away, and it says you're ready to go forward. Shared mailboxes, I'll show you real quick. That's another kind of cool feature. This is a great feature with Office 365. It's a free mailbox, essentially. The catch is that you have to have at least one licensed user assigned to it. But let's say David, he's one of the sales guys or whatnot. He's got all this information, and everyone needs access to his mailbox. We can turn this into a shared mailbox, migrate the data to that shared mailbox. As it's a free license in Office 365, that license will get grayed out. It'll get removed from the total price here. And you'll see David pop up under the shared mailbox section. And again, that same feature that's going to say, hey, we need to have at least one user attached to this mailbox. So again, and then DGs, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. You can add and subtract users as you go through here. But all along the way, nothing is happening to the source environment, nor are you committed to anything. This is strictly a read-only planner, and you can go and do whatever you want in here at any time, knowing that you're not paying for anything, nor has anyone been notified, nor have we touched any of the user's source environment. And what's even better is that once the order is rolling, you still have the ability to make adjustments. You can add and subtract users. You might determine, oh, hey, we didn't catch this user. This user no longer works for the company, or user B just started the other day. We need to create a mailbox. So our system is designed to accommodate again. But what we'll do now, once that migration plan is configured, we need to select an activation date. So I could talk for 20 minutes on this calendar, but I won't. And this is essentially having you choose a date for when Office 365 needs to be activated. And this is kind of, again, how we de-risk this project, how we basically take the risk out of the equation by setting out an activation date in the future. So we have basically until the 27th of February to make sure all those 50 users are pre-synced, to make sure that their Outlook profiles are configured and so forth. And we've got that whole period of time to make sure that all the data is already located in Office 365 before any major changes have been made.
Tim?
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, got a couple questions queued up, and folks, be sure to use the chat feature to ask your questions. We're
sure.
We're about 2/3 of the way through the webinar, just a sanity check. First question. Would this work if we are reselling O365 via open licensing, i.e. purchased through Ingram as well?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I touched upon before in this chevron here. In the event that Office 365 account already exists, and usually with open licensing, you're going to find the account exists, but there's no activity in it yet. All you're going to find are that once you enter that product key, it's an empty shell Office 365 account with just the licensing in it. So in that case, you basically provide our system with the credentials for that account, and then the software will populate everything you indicate in that previous slide here.
Cool. Next question. Is the public folder pull only discovering those that are email enabled? That's from Peter Cole, so thank you, Peter.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Definitely. So, okay, let me make sure I understand. Is the public folder, when we discover a public folder, is it only discovering those that are email enabled?
That's his question.
Sure, yeah. I just want to make sure I'm fully understanding, Peter, and you can let me know. It's not going to pull the permissions. And we actually have a couple solutions that can do that, but not for all situations. It's only pulling the actual, that top-level parent folder. And then what you have to do is you have to basically assign a user that has full access to that public folder on the source. So that and the way we migrate it is basically by connecting to the public folder via that user that has full access. So Peter, definitely let me know if that answered your question.
Okay, the neck's clear. Please continue.
Cool. So yeah, we got a couple more steps before this order is actually officially rolling. This is the email communications portion, and we've got a number of different solutions, and we're continually evolving here with how we handle this particular portion. But I'll just go over the default, the first round service, which we first started with. We realized, how do we connect to these mailboxes? In addition, how do we distribute that Outlook assistant that I mentioned before, that lightweight client that gets installed on the user's desktop? There's got to be a way to distribute that file and make sure these users are prepared to connect with Office 365. In addition, make sure that their sync connection has been established. So our default service is to actually crowdsource that information. We're going to email, well, if this option is chosen, the whole team is emailed an initial notification about that their migration is going to be happening soon, and this is the action they need to take in order to make sure that they're set up properly in Office 365. So what it's going to do is it's actually going to, here I'll show you a quick example. It's going to say, dear user, the head of your company has decided to upgrade your email, and you, the partner, will be assisting and basically will be managing the project on behalf. So, and then your logo here is an example of, your logo. Once you're registered with us as a partner, jump into the admin section and you can upload your company logo. That way, every email communication that gets sent out of our system is going to be branded with your company. Our goal currently, we're not at 100% white label service, but our goal is to basically be entirely in the background. This is you. You guys are the rock stars behind these migration projects, and we're just basically helping out in the background. But yeah, Awesome IT is an example of our our demonstration partner logo there. But of course, you're going to find yourself in all these different migration scenarios, and crowdsourcing might not be an option for you, especially if you don't want to involve the user at all. We definitely all know what it's like involving the end user in any sort of technological process, regardless of how savvy they are. So we've got other options here for you. You can send these communications directly to the point of contact. You can send them all to yourself, the partner, to forward to the user or act on their behalf. Or we've got another solution as far as source site impersonation. Let's say that Outlook Assistant isn't an option for you, and we've already established a sync connection via admin user. Then we don't need to send out email communications at all. But again, this is basically the whole process here, and our whole goal and model is that we're accommodating for whatever you guys need. All these features, half this stuff didn't exist a year and a half, 2 years ago. All these new options and features have been added based on your feedback. So hopefully it'll accommodate whatever situation you can throw at us and help you win that deal. And then of course we got the option to send these comms out immediately after we place the order, or we can have a little bit of a delay in order to notify the team, to make sure that they're aware that they're going to be getting an email from Skykick. And then we got one more step here, the DNS portion. Definitely a little bit of a mouthful. I won't spend too much time on it, but we basically have the ability to fully automate all of the DNS settings. And what you do in this particular situation, it tells you when it's not available. In this particular situation, it's not. But if it was, all you basically do is punch in that username and password for the GoDaddy account or for the Network Solutions account, and then our system takes it from there. It'll automate all the entire DNS switch, so that you basically set it and forget it. You don't need to worry about email downtime, and you don't need to worry about that Office 365 account being activated on a dime for that cutover date that you had selected on one of the previous pages here. But of course, we've got other options. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's with GoDaddy, or does it also work with Network Solutions and others? I have a question.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. We basically have, I think it's the top 10 biggest registrars automated right now, and this is part of the reason fully automated isn't always available. because as we know, there's so many different DNS hosters. We really can't, get into all of them. And there's actually, and half the time, even if they're registered at GoDaddy or wherever they are, the name servers aren't located there. That control panel is actually somewhere else. So yeah, we basically have, as long as it's one of the top 10 registrars, and as long as the name servers are located at that registrar, and we have the ability to see the records, then the fully automated solution is available. And then what we do is we basically copy those records onto a set of our own name servers that are preloaded with all the Office 365 records, so that once that cutover date arrives, then we can cut over to Office 365, like I said, on a dime. We use AWS name servers, and the TTLs are super low, so that happens very quickly. Harry, did that answer your question?
Yeah,
okay,
that did.
Great.
Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, and then partially automated, this is in the event if the name servers are somewhere else. So if we determine that GoDaddy is the registrar, but then we get there and we realize all the records are located at DNS Made Easy or somewhere else, we don't want to just blindly change to our name servers, so we actually send them to you just to change on our behalf to make sure they've been reconciled. Or of course, if you guys say, hey, no way, client says, forget it, we don't want SkyKick touching our DNS, that's perfectly understandable. We'll just set it manually. And our system will actually generate custom instructions of what records to add and when to add them. But all the way, time is what we're looking to save here. 4 hours is pretty conservative. If you're familiar with DNS, the switch is really less than 5 minutes. But the only thing to consider with the manual effort is not the actual record change, but the actual propagation time. So again, if the client is coming from some offsite, backwoods DNS provider, and they need a 48-hour request to even talk to them, that could be something to consider as far as that 10% work effort. You might need to consider that, because that's arguably the most important part of the migration. How do we get that DNS changed? So,
Tim, a couple more questions. Kyle Parker is asking, is the data processing automated? So is the data processing automated? Talking about automation.
Now, what do you mean by the data processing? Like the
yeah,
portion?
I'm not sure. Yeah, Kyle, if you want to hit us back on that, let me move on to Mr. Cohen. Ask, how would we add the second domain and keep the email addresses separate so as to enable SYN from the other domains? So a second domain question.
And you know what? I think I forgot to actually jump into that. You know what I'll do? Let me just go over this page, and then I'll jump back into the review accounts page.
All right.
And then I'll show you how to actually add the domains. Because yes, you can. We can filter out any of those separate email addresses when you're looking to kind of merge two different domains into one account. That's definitely a possibility. But as you can see, this is the final page. I'll touch upon this quickly because I know we're kind of running close on time here. But this place order button at the bottom here, this is when the wheels are in motion. Like I said along the way, nothing has happened yet. We haven't touched the client's environment, nor have any notifications been sent out. So we're going to review this migration plan with the client, and basically this could potentially be your entire SOW. Once you click export, it's gonna populate all of the settings that you indicated in the web planner and everything all these options that you've chosen to make sure that you're on track and that you're understanding all the client's needs and so forth. So cutover date was selected. This is when the client can expect to decommission their source environment and activate Office 365. Communications are being sent out to the user and so forth. And then, of course, this is the billing portion. Let's keep this part straight. This is just the Office 365 licensing, because as we know from before, I chose to have our system create an Office 365 account from scratch. So in order to create those mailboxes, we need those licenses. In order to get those licenses, we need to purchase them. So you can punch in the client's credit card on behalf of on behalf of the user, or you can actually send this billing information directly to the client. And again, just to drive this home, this is Office 365 Microsoft pricing. Nowhere in the planner will you see the SkyKick pricing portion. Like I said, we're a partner-facing model. So what's happening is that we're charging you this one flat rate per user, and then you're charging your client, as you need to make that margin and to make that profit. So, and again, I forgot the gentleman's name, but I'm gonna jump back into the review accounts page real quick, and show you that additional domain portion. So we've got, basically it's going to discover, again, just the users on the domain that you indicated on the first page. But of course, if they've got a lot of stuff going on here, you can actually add, domain 2. And what you can do, you can have this just set up in Office 365, by saying this is a new domain and there's nothing to migrate. And then if you need to create aliasing, you can do that in bulk as well. Or if this is, if there are active users on this domain, you can do a full search process again on that, and pull users similarly to how we did up here, and then it'll be 2 separate pages for you to kind of toggle back and forth with. But yeah, that's basically it for kind of like the top level demonstration here. And then once your order's underway, this is kind of the 4th product in that 4-product application suite. This is the Migration Manager, and this is awesome as far as helping you make sure everything's on track, making sure that you're going to meet that cutover date that you had selected in that calendar option. And this is basically going to tell you, hey, which users have synced, which users haven't responded to the email, what percentages of their syncs are at, is their desktop ready to go, has the Outlook Assistant been installed, has the profile been created, does the user need a Windows update? It'll actually tell you via these alerts. It'll say, number 1, you can see it here, insufficient licenses. Looks like you purchased, you told us you wanted to migrate 20 users, but we only see 19 open licensing in Office 365. FYI, partner, we just need, we need you to kind of reconcile that information. And then, like I said, with the Outlook Assistant, it'll bounce you an alert saying, looks like this user's desktop needs some attention as well. Looks like they need an actual Windows update before they're even prepared to connect with Office 365. In addition to patching Outlook, and what's cool about that is that the Outlook Assistant will auto-patch the Outlook environment, and it'll give you all those status updates, again, to make sure all these users are ready to go so that you can adhere to this date. Because if we're green across the board, everyone's been pre-synced, all these users' desktops are prepared, then yeah, we're ready to go on the 20th, as an example here. Or if it's something we need more time, if let's say every user has over 30 gigs or something and it's just taking forever to sync them, we'll talk to the client, and well, you guys will talk to the client and say, hey, looks like we want to make sure all your mail is ready to go. We don't want to have, get a huge support hit post-migration. Let's just push this cutover date back. Let's give them another week before, they're ready to go. And like I said before, once you get it rolling here and familiarize with our platform, we've got partners that are moving 5, 6 orders a month, and you can basically just kind of sit back, and our system will tell you if any action is required. So yeah, that's basically it. We've got some communication examples here. Kind of take these with a grain of salt right now. We're developing at a pretty quick clip. A lot of this stuff, if anything, kind of takes me off guard when I'm even doing a demo. We'll be adding features and subtracting every day here, basically, as we're growing. And my point is that these email communications are basically kind of a general example of what gets sent out to the users when you select those communications options. And then the DNS manager, like I said before, if it's a full service option and the client's domain ends up on our name servers, at no charge, that domain is welcome to stay on our name servers indefinitely, or of course it can be switched back. But you can add and subtract records here as the process goes forward. And then the Alerting Center I'll touch upon briefly. This is a huge kind of 50-page research report at this point, and we're actually taking some steps to kind of get this moving and ramp it up and make it a little bit more interactive. But definitely dig through this. There's some really good information on the SkyKick process, and not only SkyKick, but actually migrations in general. Is DirSync an option, or a factor? Is ADFS a factor? How do I configure Active Directory to repoint that internal auto-discover record once we've been cut over to Office 365? This is going to tell you a lot of information here. And again, this is only available as a registered partner. But yeah, it looks like we've got a couple more minutes, Harry. I'm going to jump back into...
Oh, I got a question.
Sure.
Let's see. Let me read it carefully. I have an SBS 2003 server with one public folder used only for a public contacts database. Mm-hmm. Can you migrate it, and can it be added as an address book to Outlook 2010, 32-bit, and or 64-bit?
Let's see. If it's a public folder, yes, the content will be migrated. Just kind of FYI, we migrate the top-level parent folder, so whatever's located in that parent folder, you could arguably have 1,000, theoretically, subfolders. And as long as it's under that 50 gig requirement or quota from Office 365, then it can be migrated into one public folder in Office 365. As far as the actual visibility on it, that's something. I think public folders are auto-detected with Outlook once you're connected, but the Outlook assistant doesn't really provision. Let's put it this way: it doesn't add the public folder automatically, nor does it add the permissions automatically. So if users need to, specific users need to have access to that public folder, they may need to be added manually post-migration. And actually, this is what I was going to show you. This is actually a good slide to kind of give you an idea of what we do migrate. Oops. And what we don't, as far as generating that statement of work. Because a lot of these questions, you can basically, you can always call us. We've got a full support team, essentially of consultants that are standing by 24 hours a day for 5 days a week, then regular business hours on the weekend. But we're always happy to walk you guys through these projects. We understand the importance of them, and we understand how tricky it is, alone, not including the fact that you're using a new piece of software to help you through. So we're always happy to get these questions answered and make sure we know well in advance of you committing to anything. But as you can see with this slide, this is actually from the front page of the website. Blue check marks is what the server sync is going to pick up for which environment. The Outlook Assistant is the green check marks, like the auto address complete signature blocks. Those are can be an incredible pain to transfer. And then the Exchange Assistant. Didn't really dive too much into that just yet, but this actually has the ability to automate, and discover all those public folder permissions. But to answer the gentleman's question, that Exchange Assistant cannot be installed on Exchange 2003. So permissions and visibility on those public folders might be an example of that 10% work effort of, okay, we've got everyone migrated, we've got everyone connected. Now, how do we make sure that they've got visibility on their shared mailboxes and public folders and so forth?
Very cool. Well, the deck is clear. We are at time. So,
okay.
Any wrap? The fastest 1 minute in sports.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me get this out real quick. I definitely wanted to talk about pricing real quick. Like I said before, our goal is to help you win the bid on any deal that you come across. We don't want you kind of having to weigh your options and does Sky do this or do that. We're happy to collect that feedback and add to our platform as necessary. So we released this data-only option more or less as the outlier in the event all the features of the full SMB or enterprise project planner aren't applicable for you. But the pricing goes as this. With distributor pricing, it comes in at $48 for the per user for the first 50 users, and then it drops to about $28 per user for 51 plus. And again, that's for end-to-end all these the steps that I discussed with you, knocking that 40-hour project down to 4 hours. And then with data only, let's say everyone's on the Outlook web app, or it's a Mac shop, or it's a terminal server environment. A situation where the Outlook Assistant might not be applicable, or if the client is concerned about the price. They don't want to spend $150 per mailbox or $100 per mailbox. They want to, their internal IT staff wants to take care of the majority of the project themselves. No problem. We want to help you win that bid anyway. So the data-only option comes in at $10 with distributor pricing per user. But yeah, let's see. One more thing, when you come in as an SMB Nation partner, you also get this turbo offer, which is still running. Your first project is free, up to 30 seats. Second is 20% off. Third is 30% off. So this is great incentive to get started. 100% margin. If you're not on Office 365 yet, get your company on it. We'll move you under 30 seats for free, and then regular pricing applies above that. But this is kind of here. This is a co-funded Microsoft promotion that we're excited to get you guys on board and make sure that you're successful in this realm. So, but yeah, that's about it, Harry.
Yeah, very cool. Well, so folks, remember when you do sign up for this, and we're gonna be sure to remind you, but when you do sign up, support SMB Nation. SkyKick supports us. And if you appreciate the outreach and advocacy that we're involved in as sort of an independent community, it doesn't cost you a thing. Just pick SMB Nation from the drop-down menu on how you heard about SkyKick. And then tune in next week for our weekly webinar again. And then in 2 weeks, more importantly or equally important, in 2 weeks, today is our Irvine, California Office 365 Nation workshop. It's been very popular, so we're going to have Melanie Goss as one of the speakers, Grant Thompson is one of the speakers. I'll be there. We're getting great reviews. Go to o365tour.smbnation.com or click on events over at o365nation.com. So with that said, back to the salt mines. Thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Harry. And again, my sincerest apologies for the glitch towards the beginning of the webinar. I hope everyone was able to collect some good information today.
We've all been there. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.